There's this idea that I found circulating online that the Protestant Reformation in England wiped away its artistic legacy so that it was left behind by Italy, and that if it hadn't been for the Reformation, we would be celebrating churches that look like, St. Paul's Cathedral, the Sistine Chapel, and so on. And so the Reformation cut Britain off from Europe. This seems to be the presiding argument. And I just think there's a number of holes in it. The first is the Italian Renaissance was not typical of the medieval era. Indeed, we could question whether it even really belongs in the medieval. It was a particular moment in a particular place and time where you had the Pope and very powerful Italian dukes and counts competing to be revered as the patron of the arts. And there was various philosophical and cultural movements taking place in Italy at that point, which produced this wonderful artistic array that was not replicated around Europe, whilst you had other places with beautiful painting going on, such as in Germany and the Netherlands, the Low Countries. It wasn't like the Italian Renaissance. And so to kind of make out that somehow medieval Christendom was filled with statues like Michelangelo's David is not really a true reflection. The typical parish church did not look like that. And even the great cathedrals around Europe typically didn't look like the Sistine Chapel. Certainly nothing in Britain prior to the Reformation was like the Sistine Chapel or the Italian Renaissance. So that's kind of the first point. The second is there are Protestant countries which go through a Reformation, as I mentioned, the Low Countries, and they have a high and fine art, visual culture. So it's not just that either. That doesn't ring true. But then there's a further point, which is that when you talk to these people, you have this kind of impression that because they didn't have the Reformations, therefore their religion, their faith, gives rise to people like Da Vinci and Michelangelo. But they seem to be under the impression that this is still carrying on. But when I look at Roman Catholicism after the Italian Renaissance, I'm struggling to find this powerful visual culture that they're talking about. Sure, there are painters here or there, but there isn't a concentrated burst of creativity as we see in the Italian Renaissance. I do see it, for example, in 19th century Britain with the Pre-Raphaelites. So I think there has to be a balancing here.